In my previous life, my roommate secretly gave birth to a 2.5 kilogram baby girl on my bed. The moment I saw the child, I immediately dialed the phone number of the counselor. For the sake of the school's reputation, the counselor asked me to conceal this matter. Unexpectedly, my roommate, who was hiding in the crowd, secretly took a photo of the scene. She anonymously posted it on the school forum, and I became an overnight sensation across the internet, being labeled as the peculiar female college student who gave birth in the dormitory. My social media accounts were also dug up. Countless lecherous men sent me private messages, asking how much I charged per night. Eventually, due to so-called personal morality issues, the school revoked my postgraduate recommendation quota, and my roommate took advantage of the situation. She successfully got recommended for postgraduate study at our school. After that, she smugly said to me, "Trading a good-for-nothing for a postgraduate recommendation quota, I really made a profit this time." My heart was as cold as ice. I grabbed her and jumped off a tall building. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day when I found the baby girl in the dormitory. This time I directly dialed 110. My roommate panicked. A bloody smell wafted from my bed. With trembling hands I lifted the quilt. The quilt was damp, and in the middle lay a newly born baby girl. My mind spun, and then a sense of relief after surviving a disaster welled up in my heart. I had actually been reborn. In my previous life, as soon as I returned to the dormitory, with my sharp ears I suddenly heard faint crying coming from under the quilt. Summoning up my courage, I lifted the quilt and found a newly born baby girl inside. In a panic, I immediately called the counselor. Later, for the school's reputation, the counselor forbade me from disclosing this matter, and I foolishly agreed. My roommate, Shen Qingqing, secretly took a photo of the scene and anonymously posted it on the school forum. Since the photo wasn't blurred, I became extremely popular across the internet. All of a sudden, I became the strange female college student who gave birth in the dormitory. Later, many so-called insiders emerged. They spread rumors about me everywhere on the internet. In these rumors, it was said that every day, I was seen going in and out of various entertainment venues with different men. There were also many ambiguous, solid evidence photos, which immediately confirmed the rumors of my promiscuity. My accounts were exposed, and countless lecherous men humiliated me to the extreme. Just as I made up my mind to call the police, my name was removed from the school's postgraduate recommendation bulletin board, and Shen Qingqing's name took its place. I went to see the counselor, but the counselor looked at me disdainfully and said, "Always look for reasons within yourself. If you hadn't done these things, why would so many people slander you?" Disheartened, I returned to the dormitory. Coincidentally, Shen Qingqing came back to pack her things. Looking at her smug face, I couldn't help but say, "Shen Qingqing, the child is yours, right?" Shen Qingqing smiled. "So what? I'm now a well-known top student in the school. Do you think the school will protect you or me?" Trading a good-for-nothing for a postgraduate recommendation quota, I still made a profit this time. In a fit of extreme anger, I grabbed Shen Qingqing and rushed straight to the balcony. Shen Qingqing was no match for my strength, and she was forcefully dragged down by me. We both fell, our bodies a bloody mess. Unexpectedly, heaven had eyes, and I was reborn again to the time when nothing had happened yet. I calmed myself down. Just as I was about to take the next action, the dormitory door was suddenly pushed open. Shen Qingqing, accompanied by the counselor, rushed in noisily. "Gu Shui, you actually gave birth to a child in the dormitory." The girls who followed to watch the commotion immediately let out gasps. Many even took out their phones to record. Shen Qingqing looked at me with an air of knowing everything. "No wonder you've been running to the hospital frequently recently. You must have been going for prenatal checkups. But since you were about to give birth, why didn't you just take a proper leave? We're all adults. People should be able to understand if someone gives birth during college. Look at what you've done now. Giving birth in the dormitory, what will other roommates do in the future?" Whispers came from the doorway. "Yeah, luckily it's not in my dormitory. Otherwise I'd be so disgusted. This Gu Shui looks so honest, but I never expected she could do such a thing." The counselor took a step forward. He seemed certain that the child was mine. "Gu Shui, call your parents first and ask them to come over." Shen Qingqing folded her arms across her chest. "Her parents are just farmers. It'll probably take them several days to get here." The counselor grew impatient. "If that doesn't work, call your husband over." Seeing that I didn't speak, someone loudly sneered. "We've never seen her getting close to anyone usually. Could this be a bastard child from an affair with some random man?" "Girl, young people these days really know how to have fun." I raised the corner of my mouth. "I'm really curious. Why do you all assume that the child is mine?" Shen Qingqing grew anxious. "The child is on your bed. How dare you still deny it?" I retorted. "Then you usually steal and use my cosmetics. Does that mean these cosmetics are yours?" The unspoken truth was exposed by me. Shen Qingqing flew into a rage. Don't slander me here. Moreover, look at how weak you are now. The child must be yours. I took out my phone and clicked on the emergency call number. The child isn't mine. Since we don't know whose it is, it's better to call the police to sort it out. No way. Shen Qingqing slapped my phone out of my hand. When the others saw her behavior, they all cast suspicious glances at her. Shen Qingqing's face turned red. Our school is currently in the process of being evaluated. If you call the police casually, aren't you ruining the school's reputation? The counselor unconditionally sided with Shen Qingqing. Yes, if it's not yours, then it's not. Don't make a big deal out of it. It won't be good for anyone in the end. I couldn't help but sneer inwardly. This was coercion. But having died once, I had nothing to fear. I feigned grievance. So my innocence doesn't matter? The counselor snorted. We still don't know whose the child is. Just because you say you're innocent, you are? I looked around at the gossip-filled faces of the others. Fine, since they're forcing me, I don't mind dragging everyone down with me. The child is on my bed, so I must have given birth to it? What if someone else is framing me? Since the beginning of the semester, Shen Qingqing has been staying out all night almost every day. Why couldn't the child be hers? And Song Zhan, who has been using the key Shen Qingqing gave her to come in and out of my dormitory every day. Maybe she deliberately put the child on my bed. And what about the others who stay out all night or have gone to the hospital for checkups? Don't they all have Shen Yi suspicions? Now the others grew anxious, especially Song Zhan. Don't talk nonsense. The child isn't mine. You're an outsider coming into my dormitory for no reason. You say it's not yours, but do you have evidence? Song Zhan's face turned crimson. Finally, she helplessly took out her phone. If you slander me again, I'll call the police. I spread my hands. It's not me slandering you, the counselor said. Innocence isn't something you can claim casually. Prove it then. Song Zhan was so anxious that she started crying. Finally, she actually pressed the emergency call button. Shen Qingqing rushed forward to snatch the phone but scratched Song Zhan's face with her nails. 3 bloodstains immediately appeared on Song Zhan's face. Song Zhan was a minor internet celebrity, and her face was more important than anything. Now that Shen Qingqing had disfigured her, she flew into a rage and kicked Shen Qingqing in the stomach. Shen Qingqing had just given birth. Although she had put on a makeup that made her look full of vitality, in fact, her body was extremely weak. She stumbled and fell to the ground, and blood faintly seeped from her crotch. I feigned surprise. Shen Qingqing, why is there blood down there? Now, even the slow-witted could see her abnormality. Damn, could the child be hers? She just stopped Gu Shui from calling the police and now she's stopping Song Zhan. Is she afraid that she can't hide it when the police come? I remember it was the counselor she called. Could she have planned to frame Gu Shui from the start? The counselor quickly stepped in to smooth things over. Alright. The school will investigate the matter of the child. Song Zhan, tell the police you don't want to report it. The school will clear your name after the investigation. I pointed at the child on the bed and asked the counselor, before the investigation results come out, who will take care of the child? Song Zhan, eager to shift the blame, immediately shouted. Of course it's the counselor. Do you expect us students to take care of it? I don't know how to take care of a baby. Just as she finished speaking, the child pooped on the bed. The smell was like a biochemical weapon. I pinched my nose and pushed the counselor. Counselor, go clean up the child. The counselor made some sounds and kept shaking his hands. Finally, he relented. I won't destroy the scene. Let's wait until the police come. After receiving the emergency call, the police arrived quickly. A female police officer cleaned the child and covered it with a small blanket. Another police officer took out a notebook. Those of you who have clues, provide them first. Shen Qingqing was the first to raise her hand and suggest, Uncle Policeman, I think the child must be Gu Shui's. Unexpectedly, the police officer interrupted her. Just because you say so, it is? Don't talk nonsense and interfere with our work. Well, since the child is in your dormitory, all of you come back with me to take a sample for a paternity test first. Shen Qingqing's face turned red and then pale. The counselor made a call and called back the other 2 roommates. A group of us from the dormitory grandly went to the police station to take samples. After the sampling, I raised my voice and asked, Uncle Policeman, if the identity of the child's mother is found out, how will it be dealt with? The police officer thought for a while. This situation is a bit special. We may prosecute the biological mother for abandonment. The final judgment will depend on the court. Shen Qingqing's face turned even paler. After the sampling, roommate Jiling suggested, after all this, I'm starving. How about we go out and have a meal before going back? Shen Qingqing seemed a bit absent-minded. I have something to do. You guys go eat. After saying that, she walked in the opposite direction of the police station, pretending to be calm. The 3 of us looked at each other. Our long-standing tacit understanding made us follow Shen Qingqing without hesitation. Over there, Shen Qingqing first walked around the police station in a big circle. After looking around and seeing no one, she sneaked into the police station. After about half an hour, she came out of the police station wearing a mask and carrying the child. Click. Jiling calmly sent us the photo she had just taken. She pouted. This is just in case. Although the school tried to keep it under wraps, the news that Shen Qingqing gave birth in the dormitory still made it to the trending list. I opened the comments section. There were nothing but mockery and all kinds of foul language. Nowadays, none of the female college students are clean. A woman who doesn't cherish herself is like a rotten cabbage. Dude, looking at her, she's probably been messed around with a lot. I seem to have found the account of the person involved. Free goods, don't take them for nothing. The malice that had been poured on me in my previous life finally backfired. This was the cycle of karma, retribution will not err. I hugged my newly bought quilt and had the best sleep of this life. Unexpectedly, just as dawn broke, a scream came from outside the dormitory. Someone's Tao Lo jumping off a building. My heart skipped a beat. I quickly ran to the downstairs of the dormitory. I saw Shan Qingqing sitting on the edge of the rooftop railing in a white dress, with a pale and fragile smile on her face. The counselor, sweating profusely, tried to persuade her. Qingqing, come down and talk. Don't be so desperate. Life is more important than anything. Shan Qingqing shook her head sadly. My life is ruined. What's the difference between living and dying? Do you know what people on the internet are saying about me? They call me a slut, saying I sleep around. But it's not my fault at all. Some people around who didn't know the situation side. The police's investigation results haven't been announced yet. People on the internet are so scary. Shan Qingqing is really Kurlan pitiful, being wrongly accused for no reason. Suddenly a hand tightly grasped my arm. Gu Shui, come with me. Lin Qi forcefully dragged me straight to the rooftop. When we arrived, Shan Qingqing had already stepped out with one foot. When she saw me, her expression was panicked. Gu Shui, I've never had a feud with you. Why are you harming me? How am I harming you? Did I post the videos on the internet? Or is the child not yours? Shan Qingqing was speechless. Then she started crying and sobbing. The child isn't mine. I would never do something as shameful as giving birth in the dormitory. Why don't you believe me? I took out the photo that Jiling had sent me yesterday. Then why did you secretly go back to the police station and take the child away yesterday? Shan Qingqing seemed to go crazy. She covered her head and screamed. It's not me. This isn't me. What do you want me to do for you to believe me? Do I have to die to prove my innocence? Enough. Lin Qi slapped me in the face. Are you satisfied only when you force her to death? Gu Shui, I never thought you were such a vicious woman. Although I had been betrayed by Lin Qi once in my previous life, it still hurt when it happened again. Lin Qi was my boyfriend. At the beginning of freshman year, he took the initiative to pursue me for a while. He was very considerate to me. I had never been in a relationship before and was quickly attracted, but our relationship was not made public. In Lin Qi's words, love didn't need to be proven. I foolishly believed him. In my previous life, I was wrongly accused of giving birth in the dormitory, and Lin Qi was also to blame. At the height of the public opinion, Lin Qi suddenly came forward and admitted that the child was his and mine, making me the target of public criticism. It could be said that he was one of the murderers who killed me. Lin Qi turned to look at Shan Qingqing. His expression was gentle, completely different from the way he had slapped me just now. He said softly, Shan Qingqing, I believe you. Come down first, okay? Shan Qingqing seemed to calm down a bit. Really? You're not lying to me. Lin Qi smiled indulgently. Of course it's true. I know what kind of person you are. Shan Qingqing showed some signs of moving, but finally shook her head. It's too late. Now the whole internet says I'm the one who gave birth. My life is ruined. It's better to die. Lin Qi took out his phone. My social media account was clearly logged in on it. There's another way. Make Gu Shui admit this. My heart seemed to be tightly gripped by something. Lin Qi, are you crazy? Lin Qi said impatiently. Shan Qingqing is still a girl who has never been in a relationship. Do you know how much this has affected her? Besides, you've slept with me. What's wrong with giving birth to a child as an adult? Anyway, you can only marry me in this life. I don't Shan Qi mind you. Lin Qi's wild words shocked me. After dating this person for 4 years, I had never really understood him. The counselor's eyes lit up. Yes. And the child was originally discovered by Gu Shui. It's reasonable to say it's hers, right? Shan Qingqing looked at me, her eyes filled with complacency. Seeing that Shan Qingqing had finally calmed down, Lin Qi quickly rushed forward and pulled her down. Shan Qingqing shrank into Lin Qi's arms and burst into tears. Woo Qigage, I'm so scared. Lin Qi comforted her while ordering me. Hurry up and post. I sneered. So you're trying to force me to death, right? Lin Qi frowned. Saving a life is better than building a 7-story pagoda. Can you stop always threatening to die? Is that interesting? Someone downstairs shouted. The fire department is here. Make way. At the entrance of the rooftop, the principal and a group of leaders also rushed over in a hurry. The counselor smiled confidently. Just as he was about to go over to claim credit, I suddenly sat on the ground and burst into tears. Lin Qi, as my boyfriend, you unconditionally favor other girls. Do you still have a heart? Counselor, you clearly know whose the child is. Why are you shifting the blame to me? I Yi, with great effort, got into this university from the countryside. But you want to ruin my future just because of a child. Why, clearly the child isn't mine, but you insist on forcing me to admit it. Will you be happy only when I'm dead? I rushed in front of Shan Qingqing, grabbed her hair, and ran towards the edge of the rooftop. While running, I slapped her hard on the face. Shan Qingqing, the child is clearly yours. Why are you harming me? You stay out all night every day and force us to cover for you. Now you gave birth to a child in the dormitory and still want to frame me. Fine, since you want to ruin me, then no one can live. Let's die together. I dragged Shan Qingqing and climbed outside the railing. Shan Qingqing was really scared now. She tightly grasped the railing and screamed like a pig being slaughtered. Help, help. I don't want to die. I pulled her and pushed her out. I'm telling you, if you dare to force me, I'll dare to drag you to die with me. Come on, let's all die. I won't force you anymore. I won't force you anymore. Shan Qingqing closed her eyes tightly and didn't dare to look out. Her face was covered in snot and tears. I admit, the child is mine. I was wrong. I shouldn't have harmed you. Please let me go. I won't dare anymore. As soon as Shan Qingqing finished speaking with a great effort, I dragged her and jumped off the tall building. The shrill scream of Shan Qingqing lingered over the entire campus. After we jumped, we were caught by the safety cushion. Many people rushed forward. Suddenly, someone pinched their nose and said, "Damn, she peed her pants." Shan Qingqing was in a daze. She was carried onto the ambulance with the light yellow urine stain. Although there was the safety cushion for buffering, under the strong impact my hand bone was still fractured. The school didn't dare to delay for a moment. The principal personally drove me to the hospital. The counselor followed closely and got into the car. In the back seat, his face was covered in beads of sweat. I pretended to be disheartened, closed my eyes, and as soon as we arrived at the hospital, I walked straight into the VIP ward reserved by the school without looking back, following the nurse. The counselor wiped the sweat from his forehead. "Fortunately, you're okay. Let's talk things over. The school won't force you to do anything you don't want to." The principal snorted. "You still have the nerve to represent the school. As of today, you're fired. Get out." The counselor's face turned pale instantly. He knelt down with a thud. "Principal, I was wrong. Principal, give me another chance." Before he could finish speaking, he was dragged out by the security guards who came in. The principal sighed. "Student, don't worry. The school will definitely give you an explanation." After the principal left, Lin Qi walked in hugging Shan Qingqing. Lin Qi looked at me with a gloomy face. "Gu Shui, why are you so extreme now?" I almost laughed out loud. My boyfriend cheated on me and forced me to take the blame. Why can't I be a little extreme? What's the big deal? Just admit it. Why are you so petty? No wonder you're from the countryside. I didn't want to argue with him. Ask straightforwardly. If you have something to say it quickly. If not, get lost. Lin Qi's face turned red, and suddenly he fell silent. Shan Qingqing rolled her eyes. "He's here to break up with you." I waved my hand. "Got it." Scram. Gu Shui smiled. "You're really a gold digger. Do you know that when you break up, the man has the right to ask for the return of gifts? The necklaces, earrings, and clothes that Lin Qi gave you before. We don't want your second-hand stuff. Just convert them into cash and return 30,000 yuan to us." I folded my arms across my chest. "You say 30,000 yuan, but where are the receipts?" Shan Qingqing looked disdainful, typing on her phone without knowing what. "If you don't want to return it, just say so. If you really can't, kneel down and kowtow to us. Then this matter will be over." She waved her phone. "Otherwise, if I post it online later, it won't be just about returning the money." I looked at Lin Qi. "So you two have been together for a long time. I remember you messaged me a few days ago, planning to ask me out on May 28th. May I ask, are we officially broken up?" Shan Qingqing tightly hugged Lin Qi's arm. "Who do you think you are? You were in a relationship but kept pushing back when it came to intimacy. It's only natural that Qigich fell in love with me. To tell you the truth, the paternity test results are out. The child is Qigich's. We're going to get engaged in a few days. If you're sensible, return the money quickly." I looked at the phone beside me. "Everyone, take a good look. These are the people who jumped off the building that day. A cheating scumbag and a fake jumper. Who wouldn't say they're a perfect match?" Shan Qingqing let out a scream. "You're live streaming?" I smiled. "You can secretly take pictures, but I can't live stream?" Shan Qingqing's face turned red with anger. "I'm telling you, this is an infringement of my portrait rights. If you don't compensate me 200,000 yuan today, I'll sue you in court." I looked at Lin Qi. "Why don't you first ask your boyfriend here how much money he spent of mine over the years?" I took out a list that recorded how many things I had given him over the years, along with payment screenshots and receipts attached thoughtfully. A total of 1.03 million yuan. Bank transfer or Alipay. Lin Qi's cold sweat dripped from his forehead. "Impossible. Your parents are farmers. How could you have so much money? These are all fake, right?" I pointed to the Rolex on his wrist. "Fake? You still wear it every day. Don't tell me you don't want to pay back the money." The bullet comments were filled with laughter. Thought this guy was so generous. Turns out it's only 30,000 yuan in 4 years. Don't tell me he included the money for meals. Cheating guy, pay my sister back quickly. Otherwise, I'll curse you. Lin Qi looked at me, a strange light flashing in his eyes. "Didn't you say your parents are herdsmen?" I nodded. "Yes, they herd sheep in Inner Mongolia. About more than 3,000 sheep." Lin Qi's eyes lit up, and he seemed about to say something. Shan Qingqing quickly grabbed his hand when she saw this. "Qigich, the baby must be hungry. Let's go back and feed the baby." Lin Qi was reluctantly pulled to the door by Shan Qingqing. I quickly called out to him. "Wait." Lin Qi's eyes flashed with joy. I smiled slightly and took out an IOU that I had written long ago. "If you don't have money, write me an IOU first." Lin Qi's face instantly turned cold. Without even looking, he signed his name on the paper. Then he gave me a meaningful look. "Gu Shui, you'd better not regret losing me." I quickly waved my hand. Some relationships are nothing but a stain on one's record. After I was discharged from the hospital, the school quickly issued a notice. Shan Qingqing was expelled, and Lin Qi received a major disciplinary action of being placed on probation at school. I thought the two of them would keep a low profile for a while. Unexpectedly, on the day I returned to school, Lin Qi blocked me downstairs of the dormitory. He looked at me. "Gu Shui, I have something to tell you." I was sitting in a coffee shop. Lin Qi looked at me with deep affection. "Gu Shui, these days I finally realized that the person I love the most is still you. I know you definitely can't let go of our 4-year relationship. As long as you're willing, I'll cancel the engagement immediately and be with you." I know your family background, so you definitely don't need a large betrothal gift, and the dowry doesn't have to be much either. I recently took a fancy to a house in the first ring area. The down payment is only 1 million yuan. You pay the down payment and we'll pay the installments later. After we get married, we'll pay it off slowly. The car doesn't have to be too good either. An Audi worth about 300,000 yuan will do. I burst out laughing. Lin Chi, if you don't have a urine test, you can at least look in the mirror. You, a dirty scoundrel, still want me to take you back? You want 1 million yuan, but you don't even ask if you deserve it. Lin Chi completely dropped his act. His usually gentle-looking face instantly turned ferocious. Gu Shui, I've given you a chance. Since you don't want to be with me, don't blame me for being ruthless. After saying that, he clapped his hands. 3 lecherous-looking men suddenly emerged from a corner of the shop. Lin Chi sneered. She's yours. Remember what I told you. After saying that, he walked out of the coffee shop without looking back. I took out my phone. The hooligan smiled wickedly. Give up. You can't make a call. There's a signal jammer installed here. I shook my head. No, I just wanted to say that without signal, how can I transfer money to you? The hooligan was stunned. I smiled slightly. How much did he pay you? I'll give you 10 times as much. In the end, looking at the transfer page, the hooligans grinned from ear to ear. They quickly pulled out stools and sat down. Sister, if you need anything, just tell us. We can do anything. I asked. What did Lin Chi ask you to do? He asked us to have sex with you, then take some photos and videos. He said he was going to play them at their engagement ceremony. After saying that, the hooligan spat. I heard they're going to have a live stream at the engagement banquet. Once these photos are released, your reputation will be ruined. Since they're heartless, don't blame me for being unjust. I handed over the USB flash drive I always carried with me. I'll teach you what to do. On the day of Shen Qingqing and Lin Chi's engagement, I entered with Ji Lin wearing a small dress. Shen Qingqing, afraid that everyone wouldn't see me, deliberately arranged my seat in the most conspicuous place. The engagement ceremony began. Under the MC's guidance, the two quickly exchanged engagement rings. Then Shen Qingqing took the microphone. Her act of feigning pity had reached a high level. With tears in her eyes, she looked at the camera and said gently, "In fact, today I invited everyone to watch my engagement ceremony. Besides wanting to receive your blessings, I also want to clarify one thing. Although my acquaintance with Chi Gij wasn't honorable, as a woman, I can't stand by and watch Chi Gij being toyed with by this dirty woman." Shen Qingqing suddenly glared at me. The person holding the live stream camera also obligingly gave me a big close-up. Shen Qingqing Li Sengzhiwen sternly questioned me. "Gu Shui, dare you say that during your relationship with Chi Gij, you didn't have affairs?" As soon as she finished speaking, the venue erupted in an uproar. In the live stream, the hired trolls that Shen Qingqing bought actually joined in. No man would cheat casually. Take note. No wonder her boyfriend doesn't want her. She's just another woman who's been slept around with. Even if this kind of woman throws money at me, I wouldn't want her. I folded my arms across my chest. May I ask, do you have evidence? Shen Qingqing smiled triumphantly. Of course I do. After saying that, she nodded to the hooligans in the audience. The hooligans put the pre-made CD into the player. The naked images were projected onto the huge screen on the stage. Shen Qingqing looked at me, her eyes full of mockery. "You dirty woman." Before she could finish speaking, Lin Chi slapped her in the face. "Bitch, you cuckolded me." Shen Qingqing looked back in a panic. On the screen were the scenes of her having sex with different men. She had a vivid red peony tattooed on her chest, and in the video the woman had the same red peony, as fresh as if it were real. No one would believe it was photoshopped. Shen Qingqing let out a scream. "Stop it. Don't play it anymore. This is all fake. Gu Shui is trying to harm me." Shen Qingqing rushed off the stage. "Gu Shui, you want to ruin my wedding, don't you? I'll kill you." I sidestepped and stepped back. Shen Qingqing collided head-on with an old woman. Looking at the woman, her face suddenly turned extremely pale. The woman grinned, revealing a mouthful of yellow teeth. "My dear daughter, you're getting married. Why didn't you invite your mother?" Lin Chi, who rushed over, heard this and looked at her in disbelief. "What? Mother?" When Shen Qingqing's mother saw Lin Chi, she seemed to have seen a windfall. She quickly grabbed Lin Chi's hand. "Oh, you're my son-in-law. Why didn't you tell us about the wedding? When others get married, they have all the proper matchmaking procedures. Qingqing is a child and doesn't understand, but you, a proper person, how can you be so ignorant?" As she spoke, she rubbed her fingers. "Well, since you already have a child, let's not beat around the bush. A flat 500,000 yuan. Lin Chi looked at Shen Qingqing sharply. "What's going on? Weren't your parents over there? Weren't they the owners of a restaurant chain?" Beads of sweat dripped from Shen Qingqing's forehead. She gritted her teeth. She's not my mother." Before she could finish speaking, the old woman slapped Shen Qingqing in the face. "I raised you from nothing. Now that you've grown up, you don't recognize me? I'm telling you, if you don't give me this 500,000 yuan, I'll tell everyone all your dirty secrets." Shen Qingqing screamed sharply. "Security! Get this old woman out of here!" Hearing this, Shen's mother also went crazy. She grabbed Shen Qingqing's hair and punched and kicked her face. "Then tell me, who's your real mother?" After saying that, her eyes locked on a middle-aged couple at the main table. The middle-aged couple was sweating profusely and quickly lowered their heads to eat frantically. Shen's mother rushed over in one step. "You too, tell me, is she your daughter?" In the end, the fake Shen's mother threw down the chopsticks in her hand. "I won't earn this money anymore." After saying that, she looked at Lin Chi with pity. "Young man, to tell you the truth, The two of us were hired by your wife for 500 yuan. We're not some big bosses at all. After saying that, she pulled her husband and left without looking back. Now the whole audience was in an uproar. Lin Qi's face looked as ugly as a corpse that had been dead for 3 days. Shen Qingqing quickly knelt down and tightly grabbed his trouser legs. Qigage, you said you loved me the most, right? I even gave you a precious daughter. How about you give her this 500,000 yuan first? I'll live a good life with you in the future. Before she could finish speaking, a cold voice came from outside the venue. Who do you want to live a good life with, my dear sister? Hearing the familiar voice, Shen Qingqing trembled all over and slumped to the ground. Even Lin Qi seemed to lose the ability to make expressions. He asked woodenly, "Who are you again?" The man didn't answer. He walked straight over and kicked Shen Qingqing in the chest. Shen Qingqing actually spat out a mouthful of blood. Bitch! I dropped out of school after junior high to work and earn money for you to go to school. I finally managed to send you to a famous university, but you just dumped me like this. The man looked at Lin Qi with mockery in his eyes. What did she tell you? That she's a lady who's never been in a relationship, and it was her first time with a man? Let me tell you kindly, this woman was so desperate to swindle my money that she let me sleep with her over and over again. And that precious daughter of yours, I suggest you do a paternity test yourself. What if it's my child? With a cuckold on his head, Lin Qi's face twitched. Suddenly, the nanny holding the child exclaimed, "Mom, the birthmark on the baby's neck is exactly the same as yours." Lin Qi quickly opened the swaddle and saw a large reddish-brown birthmark on the child's neck, exactly like the one on the man's. Lin Qi's eyes gradually filled with blood. Bitch! You dared to cuckold me. You dared to make me a substitute father. Because of you, I'm being mocked all over the internet and can't go home. If you hadn't said your parents owned a restaurant chain, I would never have risked everything to marry you. You've made me lose everything. As he spoke, he kicked and punched Shen Qingqing's abdomen fiercely. I don't know how long it took. Someone screamed, "Stop! You'll kill her." 10 minutes later, the ambulance and the police car roared over. I originally didn't want to pay attention to the follow-up of this matter, but it made such a big noise that even the official notice came out. The two of them bickered in court and were finally each sentenced to 3 years in prison. As for the little girl, now she's being raised by her biological father. She should have a happy rest of her life. I handed over a check for 500,000 yuan. The man took it without hesitation. After a moment of silence, he said, "Thank you." I nodded. It's a win-win situation. The middle-aged woman next to him wiped her tears. I still remember when I adopted her. She was a little girl who could only hug me and call me mom. At that time we, a single mother and her child, endured all the hardships and still gave her a bite to eat. After she went to junior high school, she somehow heard that we didn't have money to send her to school and wanted to sell her. At such a young age, she coaxed her brother to work and earn money to support her education. In the end, her brother, softened by her crying, secretly went to Guangzhou to work 12-hour shifts every day just to send her to the best private middle school in the city. Later, I thought it would be okay to raise her as a daughter-in-law. Unexpectedly. Mom, stop talking. The man coldly interrupted her. Without her, our days will be better in the future. His mother wiped away her tears. Okay, let's go home. After saying that, the mother held her granddaughter, and the son supported his mother. They disappeared into the crowd like this.